Dragi naši vinofili, wine trackeri, evo kao što smo obećali sa onog čamčića na Savi, evo Brkica, ja i jedna omanja, ovde ekipica trekera, se dobacila na još jedno gostovanje. Znači, uspeli smo nekako se prebacimo do Moltaćina i evo nas ovde u Moltaćinu, u jednom jako lepom gradiću, gdje ćemo trekovati do par nekih vinarija, a posle toga, znači, u ovoj našoj, pa budemo precizni, toskanskoj turi, znači, imamo, znači, malu posetu ovde u Moltaćinu, 2-3 vinarije, pa onda se prebacujemo u Chianti, gde imamo takođe posetu jednu 2 vinarije i nadam se ćemo napraviti neke kratke, vrlo interesantne razgovore i prikaze tih kuća. Ele, ono što je vrlo interesantno za većinu vas, a znate, znači Brunello, svi ste čuli, svi znate o čemu je reč. Pričamo o Sangioveseju, a mi smo ovde, ova mala ekipa, jedni veliki ljubitelji Sangioveseja, pa idemo da utvrdimo da li smo ti pravi Sangiovese laversi ili smo nešto tu i propustili. Ele, kratki neki detalji oko ovog divnog mesta je da u Moltaćinu je prilike nešto po konzorcijum, nešto oko 200 vinarija registrovano. Naravno, sve je posvećeno Sangioveseju, radi se 3 vina, Rosso di Moltaćino, Brunello i Brunello rezerva. Rosso zakonski odležava 6 meseci u drvetu, a godinu dana posle toga se pušta se u prodaju. Brunello je 5 godina, od toga minimum 2 godine odležavanje i rezerva je 6 godina, od toga 3 godine minimum odležavanje. Trenutno su aktualne berbe 17. za Brunello i 16. za rezervu. Ako uspemo negde kod ovih vinarija da probamo i ovih berbi iz 18. bit će interesantno, vidimo kakva je ta berba koja se pušta u prodaju početkom januara, februara, a za sve one, ja mislim da je negde 19. novembra Benvenuti Brunello, za sve one koji imaju mogućnosti, nestrpljivi su, znači Benvenuti Brunello, izađe veliki broj proizvođača i sa novim berbama i tu ćete biti u prilici da probate većinu vina iz 2018. Ele, pa ne znaš šta da vam kažem, mislim, evo sad pokušao da vidim da li se nešto zaboravio ili ne, ali tu smo da ispunimo obećanja, da trekujemo, spremili smo se, naoštrili smo se i puni smo energije i elana i imamo nekih 4 dana da potrošimo u Italiji, u ovoj toskanskoj turi, posvećenu Sangioveseu u nekom kratkom prikazu za prvi put. Pa, vinofili, mene zanima šta će sve da se desi do kraja. Pa, uživajmo u ovom. Došli smo da uvidimo kakav je ovde Sangiovese, jer Sangiovese ovde je jedna od tih sorti koja je apsolutno ovde lider u tome i zato je to Brunello di Moltaćino, jer je jednako aka Sangiovese. A za ljubitelje Sangiovesea ovo je jedna sigurno od must point tačaka koji vole da piju ta čvrsta vina, puna lepih struktura, pa sad da li to je stil nekog modernizma kao što radi Casanova Dineri, još par kuće ili neke klasike kao što radi kuće u kojoj se nalazimo trenutno, rustične varijante kao što radi Valdicava, jednog finog, elegantnog stila kao što radi Altesino, toga puno ima. Nažalost, nećemo imati ni toliko vremena, ali evo ga je naša prva stanica ovde, nalazimo se u Cannelicchio di Sopra i sad ćemo tu sa Preačenskom Ripačolijem, vlasnikom vinarije, malo da popričamo šta se ovde stvarno dešava. Ćao!
Ciao.
Kako je? How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Very good. Ah, fantastic. After this trip, we are feeling very nice now.
Beautiful.
It's good to see you, after Verona and Opera wine, My friend Brka, who is behind this telephone, we will try to make some short video, about Cannelicchio, and you are the right person to tell to us what is Cannelicchio, when you established this family business. It's family business.
It's a family business, still a family business. The estate was founded in 1962 by my grandfather, Primo Pascenti, which was the founder of Cannelicchio di Sopra, but also one of the founder of the Consorzio del Vino Brunello di Montalcino, which happened to be founded in 1967. So he was one of the historical producer of this region, and his history is the history of almost all the founders of the Consorzio, small farmers that become winemaker with a dream in mind, with the big challenge in front when Montalcino was not like today. So we are proud to be one of the historical producer to still be in the hands of the same family for more than 60 years.
When is the establishment, the Canalicchio? Which year?
1962 was the establishment of the brand. And the first vintage, the first Brunello, I'm going to show you later, the first bottle we made is 1966.
Super.
So just 1 year before the foundation of the Consorzio del Vino Brunello di Montalcino.
Fantastic. And now in this situation, when we speak how many vineyards you have and...
So now the estate is now the third generation. And the third generation is
your brother? Or
is me and my brother in the production, and my sister in the hospitality in the little Borgo Canalicchio di Sopra is the
this
hotel.
Is opposite,
yeah, we have in the old property in the original Canalicchio di Sopra house. And this is the result of, as I said, two families that joined together in 1987. My grandfather family, the Pacenti family, and my father family, the Ripaccioli family. They start to join together in 1987. They put together two different crew in the north side of Montalcino. The Canalicchio crew, because Canalicchio is our brand, but is also our one of the crew, one of the sub-zone of the north side of Montalcino, and the Montosoli crew. Which is the hill in front of you, right in front of you, the beautiful hill which is apart from the main hill of Montalcino. That hill is the Montosoli. So Canalicchio was belonging my grandfather family, my grandfather who bought the Canalicchio property, and Montosoli was belonging my father family, the Ripaccioli family. They start to work together in 1987. And now we have 20 hectares of vineyards, of Sangiovese vineyards, mainly for the Brunello di Montalcino, which are divided almost 14 here in Canalicchio and 6 in Montosoli. But both and all the vineyards we have are in the north side of Montalcino.
Montosoli you use only for the cru wines, or?
No, Montosoli we use for the cru wines, which the first release will be in 2023. So we're going to start with the Vigna Montosoli with the 18 Brunello.
That's be the new one, Brunello.
Yeah, the new one, Brunello, of the project of the single vineyards, together with Vigna La Casaccia, which is this vineyard 100% from Canalicchio.
And also La Casaccia, it's recently, the new one,
you
know.
The first vintage release was 2015.
Yeah.
And, but a lot of the grapes from Montosoli we also use in the classic Brunello, which is a blend of the two different crew, Canalicchio and Montosoli. And it's been the same blend since 1987 when the two estates start to join in the same company. So
I didn't know that.
The one of the oldest vines in Montosoli, in the part with the most characteristic soil of that hill, which is a different soil than here in Canalicchio, we use for this single vineyard. As I say, the first release will be next year, and the rest is going to the classic blend, to the blend of the classic Brunello di Montalcino, like our historical black label. Yeah.
The 17, it's now, you know, it's really real classic. You know, we opened recently in Belgrade. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a beautiful vintage.
It's very beautiful.
I'm happy you define classic, because at the beginning, when the harvest happened in 2017, we were not sure about the elegance of the vintage, because it was a vintage that was born with a very hot and dry summer. But the secret of this season is that September was perfect in 17. So despite of the hot season, the wine is super elegant, are super balanced, are super fresh. So you have also a lot of acidity, which is something that you don't expect in a dry and hot vintage. But I call the 17 the big surprise, because the wine take the warm on the nose, in a beautiful nose of balsamic flavors, liquids from the hot season, which happened until the middle of August. But then the other part of the season, and especially September, was super fresh with big excursion day and night. So it's a wine with two aims that works very well together.
Yeah, it's very nice. I was very surprised. I tasted in Verona, but recently when I opened to San Sommelier, everybody was happy, because it's a classic. You very easy recognize, you know, this is the Brunello, you know, because it's very fresh. What you say?
It's a very terroir vintage,
very terroir,
which means that it's a vintage that doesn't lose the link with the place where you make the wine. This is how Canalicchio di Sopra is new around the world, to make wine that really a very strong link to the place where we make our wine. So for us, it's very important to put the soil, the weather of this side where we are into the bottle. And with the 17, despite, as I said, of the very extreme condition, we have been able to do that. So you can recognize that is a Brunello from the north side of Montalcino. So to be very specific in the style of the vintage.
Of the vintage. And how is big difference between the soil in the Canalicchio and in the Montosoli?
There is that's the beauty, and why me and my brother in 2007 when we entered to manage all the vineyards, the cellar, we decided to make another step in the direction of uniqueness of our wines. We have been always forever very recognizable into the market because we are one producer that only have vineyards in one side. So when you drink a bottle of Canalicchio di Sopra, you understand you are in the north side, not because this is the best side, but why? But because you can recognize there is only one side. So the north side, the elegance, the freshness, the acidity, the balance, the silky tannins. But then we understood that in the north side there are some different condition of production, mainly based on the soil composition. The Canalicchio area, as you can see, is an area where the clay is the main component of the soil. The clay, which is a very particular clay, is not a gray clay. It's nice to see now because it's wet. It gives you the right color of this clay. It's a brown clay. Brown clay means there is a clay with a lot of mineral elements, a special calcium carbonate that is something that soft the heaviness sometimes of the clay. So here we make wine of roundness, opulence, big structure as the clay gives to the grape, but also very silky, very velvet with a very round sensation. This is the characteristic of the Canalicchio area. Montosoli, which is, as you can see, 500 meters in line, no, in front, it's a different hill from Montalcino. It's a separate hill because the rest of the vineyards in Montalcino are part of the main hill of Montalcino, that it can be south and west for 20 kilometers. Montosoli is another hill, has a different soil. There is for sure some clay there, but there is a different kind of clay. It's a clay that here in Tuscany with more rocks, more compact, that we call galestro. So it's a rocky soil. It's a soil that it's more dry, much more the water, where the roots go more mineral, go much more deeper in the soil. And the highest minerality of that wines is because of these roots that goes deeper in the soil. They take different nutrients in terms of minerality sensation. And the wine, the result of that wine is completely different. Is if here in Canalicchio we build the roundness, the opulence, the sweetness of the tannins, there we take the acidity, the freshness, the saltiness of our wine. So this is why me and my brother, we decide why we don't choose not the best vineyards of the two crew, but the most unique vineyards, the most constant vineyards every year to make something that is very easy to recognize. And we identify the Vigna Casaccia, which is this vineyard in Canalicchio, and the Vigna Filari Lunghi in Montosoli to make the Vigna Montosoli. These are the two vineyards that have much more style, much more identity of the sub-zone. And they're very constant year after year. So in the Vigna Casaccia and the Vigna Montosoli, it's easy to recognize the style of the wine, even if you compare different kind of vintage in terms of climate condition. So this is the meaning for me of cru, the identity of the parcel. So it means that in the cru, the importance is focused on the soil, and the difference make different wines.
Yeah, because that you now you want to put make the new one, Montosoli cru. And how many years you have these six hectares in Montosoli?
My father my father family came to Montalcino, not far away from here, but they are not local from Montalcino. While my grandfather, the Pacenti family, they are local for many, many generations. My father came with his family, with his father and his mother in 1958, and he came from Maremma. Maremma is like 50 kilometers from here. And they arrived in Montalcino in 1958, so we have since 1958. At the beginning, they planted some vineyards. My grandfather was employed working for another company, so they used to sell grapes. In 1987, he decided to join my grandfather's estate, so they put together the two estates, the vineyards together. So that wine, you can taste the first vineyard from that hill in our brand from 1987, which is a part of our Brunello was from there. And it's still the black label, the classic Brunello is a mix of different vineyard in Canalicchio, and the
Reserva also?
The Riserva is a different approach. Riserva is a wine that we make only in the best vintage. We don't make every year. When we make, we want to underline the characteristic of the vintage. So it's a bit different of the concept of the single vineyards. We want to underline the characteristic of the vintage, means we want to underline what happened in that specific vintage. So we want to tell the history of the vintage. And you have to remember this for the next 20, 25 years, the life of a Riserva. So when you make a Riserva, you have to be sure the wine has a long life in the bottle. So to make that, we prefer to focus selecting the vineyard that in that specific vintage where we decide to make the Riserva, it gives the best expression of the vintage, of the climatic condition of that vintage. So it happens that in 2013 we made the Riserva from Montosoli. In 2015 we made the Riserva from the Vigna Vecchia Mercatale, so the oldest vines in Canalicchio. In 2012 we made a blend between Casaccia and Vigna Vecchia Mercatale. The concept of Riserva is mainly linked to a single vineyard, but there's different vineyard according to the vintage. So we want to keep these two concepts, the Riserva and Cru, different approach on the.
And what you plan with Montosoli will be the Riserva, or will be the
like a Cru, like the Casaccia. It can happen in the future that maybe we decide these two choices to make the single vineyard and the choice of the Riserva, they go in the same vineyard. So we're going to make only one wine, which will be the single vineyard Riserva, but never a double wine, never the Vigna Montosoli and Vigna Montosoli Riserva.
Okay, yeah. Don't confuse the people that you have.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, but in total, how many bottles you produce?
We make around 85,000 bottles, 90,000 bottles, be divided between Rosso di Montalcino and Brunello. So we can say 45% is Brunello, 40% is Rosso, and 15% is divided between the Cru and the Riservas when we make, because we don't make every year. The important thing is that we almost have only Brunello vineyards, so most of our Rosso is a reclassification of our Brunello. Some of the vineyards, the youngest vines, or some of the selection we make with the different concept every year, we decide to not release like Brunello, but to release like a young Brunello we call Rosso di Montalcino.
Yeah, they call the baby, the baby Brunello.
We try to give a different identity to this one.
How I follow and read on the internet, I think that people try to recover, Rosso di Montalcino in the terms, the people, the showing, and make the plan. I think this year it's some festival red called.
Yeah,
it's
with the consortium.
Yeah, consortium that the people can taste only Rosso di Montalcino. Yeah. That means that start to Rosso come back because it's really baby Brunello. Some producer really put aging 1 year,
It's a very good moment for the Rosso di Montalcino because the appellation is growing in quality in general, and also the base is growing. This is normal, no? And now is a good moment because you can drink beautiful Rosso di Montalcino, which is the first approach to better understand Montalcino, no? And Brunello can be the second step. So we are on a state that we sacrifice every year a lot of grapes that potentially we could use to make our base Brunello. We prefer to not make a base Brunello, and instead we prefer to make a very good Rosso di Montalcino. And so we invest a lot in the Rosso. Our Rosso is refined in oak barrels, even if it's not required by the law. We release after 15, 16 months instead of releasing after 1 year. So we take care of this wine.
You're also aging 1 year, yeah? And you release after 50, 60 months, that means plus 4 or 5 months in the bottle.
Yes.
It's fantastic. When we met the first time, when I taste this on Opera wine, when I taste Reserva 2010, I think they come back 2 times minimum. It was absolutely amazing.
I remember. Wine. And then you went to the restaurant and you had the Rosso 16.
Rosso 16, I was wow. Look.
And it was last year, so it was a Rosso that was released 3 years before, no? We like to make a Rosso that you can enjoy now when you release. Now we are out with the 2020, but you can also drink a bit older. So the Rosso can also age. It's not made to age.
Personally, I
50 years.
believe in Rosso because it's really easy step to the wine lovers, you know, just to recognize, or especially for the money price, you know, you can buy for 20, 25, 30, 35 euro in the wine shop, you know. Enjoying the fantastic wine, you know, good aging potential, good aging in the barrel and aging potential wine, you know, that you mean then you can open really, you know, some wine after 7, 8, 10 years, you know, no problem with that, you know, because it's have good acidity. It depends of the producer, you know, but it's good that people try to work on this.
Yeah, and especially we think that a good producer, a serious producer needs to have a very good. Is where you test the quality of a producer is on the base wine, no?
Base wine,
so the base wine has to be good to have a good reputation like a brand, because it's easy sometimes to make 5,000 bottles of a great Reserva, but all your production has to have a good quality. So yes, it's for us important. And we always invest and we always trust a lot in this wine into the market.
I recognize that because
the Brunello is our flagship wine.
A lot of time, you know, I taste now 20 we have in Belgrade. I taste 19 in Treviso when I was on the hiking in this part of Italy and Austria. 16 in restaurant, 15. You know, it's really great. It's in good year, good Rosso. You know, this is the point.
And it's it's a wine that you can, as I say, make the first step to the drinker. Okay, let's see how the producer works. If you don't know the brand, how the producer works without spending €100. And when you drink the Rosso, it's a good Rosso for sure. You want to make the next step with the Brunello, and then with the single vineyards, with the Riserva, which are very limited in quantity and very high standard quality.
You finish harvest almost.
We almost finished. We've been very lucky because this was another, like a 17 was. It seems to be a very difficult vintage until the 28th of July. I remember very good because that day, after 4 months without raining, we had a 40 millimeters of raining that really changed the history of the vintage. August was very fresh with a good amount of raining, the real life, and that's the example. I can make a few words to convince you that it was a great vintage. The plant didn't suffer, but you have the best way to believe me. Just see the color of the vineyards. End of September, hot and dry vintage, everything is green. So that's a demonstration the plant is working. And the last week we had 7 or 8 days where we harvest like crazy to finish. We harvest 95%. We need 3 more hours on Saturday that it starts to rain, but we're gonna finish tomorrow.
You're happy?
But
22. Happy?
We are very happy, and you can see from the vineyards how our green are and how the healthiness of these vineyards is this year. So this is the synonymous of that you have in the cellar, was perfectly ripe with the vineyards. The color of the vineyard gives you the idea of the balance,
Can
the technology maturation.
15 or 16 or
it's early to say. I'm very happy about the quality of the grapes, but usually I have to wait until the end of malolactic fermentation to better understand the quality of the tannins, the kind of extraction we made, because it's hard to say now. The juice, it's beautiful, it's clean, it's colored, so you have a lot of acidity with a perfect phenolic maturation, which is very hard to find in a very extreme vintage like this. And how was until the end of July, it's hard to find technology maturation and phenolic maturation. They make the same step before, but the secret another time are the 20 days before the harvest. For me, these are the most crucial moment of the harvest.
You catch the right moment.
And it was good to have like 8-9 days, beautiful 8-9 days of sunny days that we harvested.
Today is really nice day. When we arrived, really
after
nice
the raining of yesterday.
It's not so hot. It's hot, you know. It's sunny. It's fantastic.
That's perfect. The excursion we had. So we harvest Montosoli Tuesday last week, and during the night was 4 degrees and 22 during the day, 18 Celsius degree. In the day you harvest is the only way you sometimes producer try to be organized in a cellar to put down temperature and everything, because to keep the fragrance, to keep the elegance of the perfumes, you need this to harvest it with low temperature. As you know, in some region they harvest during the night to have lower temperature, no? So it's important. We had naturally 4 degrees during the night, and when we started was 6-7 degrees in the morning. So the beautiful nose, that everything was so clean and so elegant. So we are very, satisfied about the harvest. It's too early to be how we'll be satisfied about the wine, because for me are 2 steps.
But when you see the grape, you know,
when you see the grapes, you think that you have something important and good in your hands.
Okay.
Let's see how will be the vinification. Okay. A bit scaramantic, so I have to...
No, we will wait. Let's go inside, you know. Yeah. Super. It's good that you say that it is fantastic, you know, because I'm afraid, you know, because when I see in Serbia situation, it also was very, very, very hot. And the crucial moment when people down temperature, 10, 15 degree, rain every day, disaster.
Yeah, it's more and more these vintages, they are up and down, no? It seems like the average at the end, it's not so different than 30 years ago.
Can we call
But the peaks is crazy, up and down.
Just to see inside how look.
To the cellar.
Too short. I don't know if you have something to say more. This is the crucial things, you know. For people who don't never taste your wine.
Yeah.
But have a lot, because we are new on the market with your wine.
And sorry, we are not harvesting. Otherwise, I should let you see the most important thing we do, but I can show you. We have all the machine. They are not working now, but I can explain how it works, because all the we make here for every wine, for every single grape we harvest, we do a berry by berry selection, which means that every single berries before going to the tank, it passes to this machine where we have 6 people operating and working. The first part is a certain table for the grapes. The grapes arrive 10 minutes from when we cut, because we have all the vineyards here around, and we harvest in basket on the tractor of 500 kilos. So 10 minutes to fill 500 kilos, and every 10 minutes arrive another one. So this line never stops. The first one is selection. The berry is a grape selection.
Here,
If there is something which is not good, we throw away. Then we have this machine. It makes 70-80% of the work of selecting the berries. The green berries, the dry berries, they don't go on the second table. If something go on the second table,
it has some sensor, something like that. Yeah.
There is a system that it can by the pressure without touching the grapes, but only oscillation can fall down only the mature berries. The other, they go throw away. As you can see, the green part is not only the green. There are some berries that are still attached on there, which is something which is not good, and it's good that doesn't go inside the tank.
That means only perfect grape.
Yeah. The second one after the stemming is the berry by berry selection. Every single berries, it passes through the eyes of 4 people. So through 8 eyes and 8 hands, they select another times what the machine is not able to select, because machine cannot do the perfection. The other 4 people, they do the perfection, they try to do, and then it goes by gravity with this, the help of this pump, in the cellar for the fermentation.
Super. This is the new property, or this is your family house, or?
So this part was the old cellar when we moved here from the Canalicchio. Now in Canalicchio, I have my house in the original house, and we have the hospitality, the hotel. Here we bought in 1987. It was the first thing that my grandfather and my father bought together, and we still have the logistic downstairs, but upstairs I have my parents, my brother, my sister, my parents' apartments. The new cellar is in this part. We finished the new cellar 2008.
All us can go down, yeah?
Yeah.
Trekeri, ajmo malo dole da vidimo.
Up to you. We have the elevator.
It's how many floor?
It's two floor.
Aj, daj, kablet. Sad se spuštamo u pod.
Okay. So we use the stairs.
Ajde, vidimo ovo novo.
Because here is wet and we use the stairs. They say they want to use the stairs, yeah. Okay. Well, watch your step here because it's a bit dangerous, huh?
Što bi rekli, srce proizvodnje.
Yeah, here now it's a mess because we are working.
Okay.
It's where the vinification happens. All these tanks are full now. They won't last.
Okay, now.
All these are full of, you can smell.
Yeah.
Fermentation, the CO2 that is going.
We can go to wash our face, you know.
Very simple, very clean, and very soft fermentation. Daily pumping over with this, but very soft. 2 times
Very
a day
nice, yeah.
for very short time, and délastage. Délastage, it's like keeping out the liquid and keeping back from the head. So
Very nice, very new.
yeah, this we renew in 2018. And here it's where, like the chef, we cook once a year here. This is the place. This is our kitchen.
Yeah. Kitchen
The
for once.
beginning, the beginning of the.
Super.
As you can see, only stainless steel tank for the cleanness is
Okay,
very
yeah,
important.
yeah.
And we keep on maturation for a long time. So our maturation is like 25 days. So the concept of vinification here is to make something which is like an infusion. The time makes difference. Not many mechanical operation, but more the timing and keeping maturation with the skins for a long time.
A second floor, it's a barrique.
What?
Second floor, it's a barrique.
Second floor is the barrique. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are not barrique, but only.
No, barrique, I
big
think
barrels.
big barrels, yes. Super.
Sorry, but
No, come on.
we are working.
Hoćemo li moći svi? Ajmo, a?
If you were here like 3 days ago, it was
It
different.
was crazy, yeah.
Every operation we do early in the morning and late in the night, so in the evening. So the pumping over, the délastage we do during the day, but the pumping over is 2 times a day, and 6 in the morning and 7 in the afternoon. We give the time to the yeast to work during the day. And this is where we refine the wine. Big barrels. As I said, we don't use barrique, not because we are against barrique, but just because we think that the grapes from the place where we are, the north side, they need to be refined in a reduction system, so with a very small amount of oxygen. And the big barrels, it's where the contact with the oxygen, the exchange of oxygen with the external is very limited. This is why we use the big barrels. The important thing for us is to use neutral oak. So the oak is not an ingredient, but it's a needing for the wine. Neutral oak means that doesn't give a lot to the wine, but it helps the wine to be refined, to round the tannins, to make a longer chain of the phenolic components, to build not the impact, but the deep of the wine, the depth of the wine. Okay, this is why the big size, the neutral oak, and different kind of oak, mainly Slavonian, from Hungary, Croatia, that region, which is the traditional oak always used in Montalcino.
From Veneto?
Yeah, the manufacturer is in north of Italy. And we also have something from France, like province of the oak, and from Austria. The important for us is to have a very neutral oak and very seasoned oak, to not give a green sensation to the wine, at the same time neither give vanilla, station, so we prefer not toasted oak.
to be fruity, you know, like the 70s.
In the refined cellar, which is a natural cellar without air condition, so everything is natural, temperature, humidity is natural because we are 15 meters underground. Here we have always 3 vintages. Now we have 19, 20, 21. The 18 is already bottled to stay in bottle for 6-7 months before being released to the market.
In February, yeah.
January, February we release. And the 22, as you saw, is upstairs in the vinification. And so the cycle is always to have 4 vintages in the cellar. And now in 19 will be bottled beginning next year to leave the space here in the barrels to the...
Also wines for Rosso, it's aging here.
Yeah, wine for Rosso.
You use this smaller or barrel or no?
Okay. The smaller one, we have just a few, as you can see. The 95%
this is
big barrel.
500 liters or
750.
750.
And we use this because every single vineyard we keep separately for the refinement. And some of the wine that doesn't fill in the big barrels, we make a first assemblage, first blend, but it's not specifically used for the Rosso. The Rosso is the same barrels. Some of the Brunello, after 1 year, we declassify to make Rosso di Montalcino. We also have 2 hectares which are specific. They born like
Rosso di Montalcino. Okay, super. And what you think? What be good to taste? What be good to taste? 19, 20?
Yeah, I mean here we have a great vintage. Is happy that now in the cellar we have 19, 20, which is similar like was 15 and 16 for me. 19 is very similar to 15. 20 is very similar to 16 for what we have at Canalito. So 19 opulence, roundness, very rich wine, beautiful elegance, but with a big opulence and extraction. While
15 was the strong, which tastes some producer. It was very strong, powerful vintage, you know.
Powerful, but also
elegance,
because the secret is always to balance the extraction, so the strength, the structure of the wine with acidity, which give you the pleasure, the vibrancy of the wines. This 20 is a pure elegant, it's extremely fruity, it's like 16 was, so I feel these two. And 21, which was born in a very complicated vintage because we had a lot of frost. We had a frost that reduced the quantity. Finally, the small quantity we had is super good. So
because
we are lucky that now we have
16 is very good, very elegant, good acidity, good potential, you know.
16 is a super classic vintage.
Super classic,
it's a vintage that we would like to have every year. No, it's the perfect vintage for vintage.
That you mean you prefer more 15 or 16 or 90 or 20? It's a style. It's the question.
It's a matter of what your mouth prefers. It's not. If you ask me if what's better, 15 or 16, I have no an answer. If you ask me what you prefer to drink, I answer 16 because my palate it requires a bit more of acidity, a bit more of balsamic
elegance
on the nose, the elegance, the depth. But 15. For like many people, they prefer 15 because it has more roundness. So it depends. It depends the palate, but it's a good problem to have. It's a good choice to make between these two.
Big problem when you have this problem in life. It's a big problem to choose. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you put us in situation.
If you ask me if it's better 2002 or 2003, was much more difficult. 2, you know, was a super. Wet vintage, very difficult. We didn't make almost any Brunello. 3 was super hot with the wine very rough. So 2 and 3 was a hard choice to say what you prefer. But now 15, 16, it's and there are 2 wines that have maybe 16 a bit more life in the bottle. But we are talking about the 15 can age for 18 years, the 16 can age for 20 years. I mean, they are both great potential for aging.
I don't know. Just if you can taste, I can tell you what I think.
The 16
no, 16, maybe
is
18.
More because of the acidity. The 15 is aging more because of the phenolic, the antioxidant of the phenolic concentration. So they're both great for the aging, for the refining.
Super. Very nice place. You make this very nice, very beautiful.
Here we have, as you can see, the Vigna La Casaccia, the single vineyard. In 2019 is the next vintage we're going to bottle. Is the first vintage we're going to make 4 Brunellos. So we're going to use 4 Brunellos. The Casaccia, the Montosoli, the 2 single vineyard.
The Montosoli, like the new one, yeah.
Yeah, the classic Brunello, the 40,000 bottle of the classic Brunello, the blend between different parcels from the 2 cru, and the Riserva from the Vigna Vecchia Mercatale.
Super.
So it will be the first time we're going to have 4 labels of Brunello.
Good football team, you know.
Yeah. Volley teams more.
Well, you know, you can prepare it for the football, you know. Okay, you know, if you have something more, or it's okay. You have something to give some more details, or
yeah, I mean, this is the place where you just wait. No, it's the place of the patience of the.
Maybe I can stay maybe 1 more hour if you offer something. No problem.
It's really important to taste the barrels and to understand how is the development. But we usually rack the wine in their life of aging, the 3 years we keep for the Brunello, 2 times, sometimes 3 times, or also once, because it depends what the wine requires. If it's going too much reduction, we make a rack and we refill the barrel with the same wine. So this is the way we make a natural deposition of the sediment of the wine for the 3 years of refinement of aging we make here. Very simple place, but also very complicated. We like to keep very clean because we think the clean outside is the clean inside the wine. And for us, it's important to make a wine that, as I say, tell you the place where we are. So we don't like to have something that can change this connection, this link with the terroir. And so we like to make clean wine with a lot of purity of fruit. Only in this way you can you can feel the provenance, because if you have some dirtiness in the wine, you lose the connection with the place. So we're gonna start with the Rosso di Montalcino 2020. So the current release of Rosso di Montalcino. The next vintage will be bottled middle of December, before Christmas time. We usually bottle to release in February, March. So after 2-3 months of time into the bottle.
This is Terroir Sense, yeah?
Terroir Sense, yeah?
Yeah. I didn't know for that.
And the Riserva 16 was the wine of the week to our Riserva 16 2 weeks ago.
I think they'll catch this on his Instagram. But we still don't taste this 16 in Belgrade. Predivan. Only Zalto?
Only Zalto.
Only Zalto.
I love the Zalto.
Zalto.
Because the great of this glass is that it lets you taste the wine how it is. It doesn't change the wine. I mean, it doesn't make a better wine, but it makes the wine like it is, because it's very clean, it's very thin. So it's a glass where I feel difference by tasting in other glass. There are glass good like Zalto, it's not the only one, but this kind of glass without lid, made without lids, are the best to taste the purity of the wine. So Rosso di Montalcino, this is the 2020, and as I said before, for me is the elegance, the purity, the elegant vintage we had in Montalcino, which is let me think that it's something similar to the 2016. It's a vintage that I really like. It's spicy. It's a little spicy, no? So aromatic. Purity, aromatic, but it's less balsamic, while the 19 was more balsamic. I can let you compare with the 19 Rosso if you like. But the difference is big between the two.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put also the 19 so you can compare. This is the 20 Rosso di Montalcino.
20. Da, viš kako je čašnik, kako je otvorena, koliko je ekspresija. I will speak about how its expression of this Rosso is this Alto glass fantastic. We usually using this basic window glass, yeah. Which is fantastic, you know, for that, but very spicy, lots of coffee aroma nose, lots of many red fruit.
But it's nice to compare 20 with the 19. We work in the same way, so we don't make changement. We try to interpret the vintage, so if there is something to change in the vinification, for sure, we do. We try to extract the best from every vintage. But the 20 goes more in the floral direction. And you have these spiciness, peppers, while the 19 goes more in the balsamic direction. So you have the licorice, you have the anise, which is different kind of approach. And this reflects the mouth. This is more like long and deep and persistence with the length of the wine, like main characteristic. The 19 is more round, is more opulent, is more fat, as we say with the Sangiovese. So are two expressions of two beautiful vintages that express in two different ways.
Tannins in 20, it's so juicy, and acidity, it's really amazing. It's for example, this also, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, it's really possibility for aging, you know, no problem.
Yeah, it's like, you remember the 16 that you tasted after 4 years of releasing, it was still very young, no?
And this is what we speak on the outside, that for example in the wine show for 30 euro you can enjoy this fantastic wine.
Okay, just from the nose, you feel the difference between these two vintages.
Kako ti se čini to? Dajte još.
It's not white, but it's perfect.
Fantastic.
You prefer white wines?
No. I prefer good wines.
Good wines.
I started to tell you my...
But he is addicted to Friuli, you know.
I love white wines too.
Of course. I was with my wife in this Cinghiale Bianco in Florence, and recently we made some chemistry with the old.
Ovdje u Polić koliko je stvarno 20-a floralna sad na nosu.
So we walked in.
I stvarno je na nosu, na primjer, stvarno više balzamik, više onako punije oštrije, nekako biber baš.
Wait.
So we made friends instantly. So we started dinner, what we're going to order, and I said, per cominciare un calice di bianco. He was shocked and said, per bianco wine nel Friuli.
Drugačije potpuno. 19 punije sve, meni 20 je nekako baš razigranija, lepša, onako. Tvrđe. Da.
Tuplja.
Nije, nego je, drugi su arome, potpuno su, kaže, potpuno su druge arome. Completely too different, you know, in the style, what you speak. Now, when you taste this 20, you see how it's floral, how it's so expressive, so elegant, so easy. This is more tough in the some style, you know.
The impact is bigger. It's a bit more sweet in the tannins because you have more fatness in the mouth. It's not more heavy. I mean, the two wines have the structure, but it's a two different style of drinking. There are people that are in love with the 19, and other consumers they prefer the 20. It's a matter of what you prefer to taste. Maybe the 19 is a bit easier. The 20 is a bit more not complicated, but still like a wine that you can really enjoy. But it's a bit more austere, no? Than like vintage. But the 19, you can drink 2 bottles and without problems.
But this is what you say. It's now when you taste this like 15, 16, you know. 15 was like 19 in this case, you know, it's so powerful, so impact, so round, structure, everything, lots in structure, because I know I taste some wines, you know, some Brunello from 15, and more are the similar, you know, in this power, you know.
Yeah, I told you that the similarity with the 15 for me are huge. And maybe 19 is also better because it's more complete. 19 you have more acidity than 15, so the Brunello will be big but also very, very elegant. So it's a super complete vintage. 19 it can be also like 2010, no? It's a vintage that for sure was a bit warmer, but not super hot. And so you take the advantage in the construction of the body of the wine, but also the construction of the opulence of the wine, which is something that gives you the pleasure for drinking.
Uh-huh. 17.
You go on the 17.
Okay.
I'm going to put all the wines there so then we can discuss it.
Okay, okay.
And enjoy, and then I'm going to take a bottle of 18 to let you taste the preview of the 18.
18, how was the 18 vintage? I can follow only, you know, which wines which I import from Marema, from Bulgaria, and from Chianti. It was good in some case.
Okay, the 18 is a very
upside down.
If you consider the last vintages, the last 10 years, is a very unusual vintage, because we only had another similar vintage to 18, because 18 is a fresh vintage. It was super fresh. The temperature in the summertime never reached more than 34 degrees.
Really, Montalcino?
So, yeah.
Like one of the hottest places in the Tuscany, yeah.
Yeah, was very cold, no? It's similar to 2013. So in 2018 you have elegance, purity, saltness. It's not a vintage of like richness, but the elegance you have. I love the cold vintage because I like the acidity. I like these floral perfumes. It's a super elegant, and I think it's a vintage can last forever. It's like a mix of 2008 and 2013. For people like the Sangiovese, 2008, 2013 are very terroir vintage, a vintage that tell you about the soil where you are. We've been very lucky in 2018 because even if it was a bit more cold and wet at the beginning of September, around the middle of September, before the harvest, we have 1 week of a tramontana. Tramontana is the northeast wind, no? You know, from the Balkans and everything, it's coming from there, no? And it's really the secret of the north side of Montalcino is the tramontana. Well, it's coming also last week when I told you that in Montoso is 4 degrees, it was because of this wind. This really dry the grapes, where even if it was a bit bigger before the harvest, they reduced the quantity, they lost liquid and water, so we had a beautiful concentration, but also concentrating the acidity. So the wine, for example, the Casaccia 18, from a cold vintage has 15% of alcohol, more than 17 that was a warm vintage.
It's interesting, yeah.
There is concentration, there is demonstration, but it's also highest acidity. So it's a nice balance in a different way. We're gonna taste the classic Brunello 18 and you can experience this beautiful, elegant, it's one of the most elegant vintage. It doesn't have the body of the 19, it has the purity and elegance and the heart sensation like 13, which is for sure. For us, 13 is the vintage to remember.
13, what you say, you know, fruity,
top 100.
Fruity, acidity, easy drinking, but you feel very good with this
Yeah,
wine.
but also like a lot of character.
Yeah.
The wine can age forever. With the 13, we were in the top 100 by Wine Spectator with our Brunello 13. So we like the very classic vintage, a bit more cold.
This is 17.
This is the 17 Brunello, yeah?
Predivno 17.
Ćemo probati. Ili prave oni
Branimir je ne znam.
Branimir je već više pije
Vraća Branko, vraća.
Vraća Branko. Jel prave oni malo veće boce?
Prave Branko, sve, prave glume, sve imamo, sve ima dobro, vidi čovjeka iz... Ne, 17. je vidio, znači ovi su mi vrijeme, ono smo otvarili, vidi, potpuno je bilo iznenađenje. I stvarno je ono prve esence. It's very, let's speak about 17, how I was big surprised, not when I taste in the Verona. When I open the bottle, when come, you know, in this...
We say one thing, the wine needs to pass the first summer.
Yeah,
so the first summer after the year of bottling, it's something that the wine needs to pass to find the balance. And it's always very important for a wine to find the balance to pass the first summer. The wine really changes. We know because we taste the wine every 2 weeks from the barrel, so we know what's the potential. But sometimes when you put in the bottle, the wine stays in for like 1 year, and in a moment that needs to find his balance.
But what say one of my friends, sommelier, said it's fantastic. It's easy to understand.
Yeah.
It's easy to understand.
But it's easy, but it's Brunello.
It's Brunello. It's easy to understand Brunello. Yeah. When you say somebody to a restaurant, okay, you want to taste Brunello, this is Brunello, you know.
Yeah. And maybe it's also more ready to drink, no? If you taste now the 16, it takes more time. The one is not super ready, needs much more time. When you taste the 17, it's more ready to drink, and this help you to enjoy right now. But also has potential because you feel the acidity, you know. So it's not a wine that it's going to live for 2 years. It's a wine that can stay in the bottle for a long time.
You know, definitely. But in this moment, expression of the wine, it's really amazing. You know, you feel very happy, you know, when you take this glass of the wine, you know. 17, like actual vintage, like a young vintage for Brunello, you know.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic, very, very nice. Very happy about this.
And you know also what we did in this vintage, we did one thing. We decided to not make the Riserva in 17. So the Riserva fruits...
you didn't?
We didn't make Riserva in 17. So the Riserva, the Vigna Vecchia Mercatale, as I say, we usually use for the Riserva, is inside the blend. So we do, as I say, we only did the 16 Riserva since 1966.
15 you didn't make?
16.
But 15?
Yeah, we made it, but only 16 times.
Total 60, sorry.
Yeah. 1/6 in 52 harvests we made. So we make very, very big attention when we make the Riserva. When we don't make, sometimes it's to preserve the quality of the classic.
Then I understand you, thank you for one box. So mi jedan box 16 samo prodao.
Rezerva.
Tako je, da.
Koliko je kod tebe?
Rezerva je dosta love, nekih 18-19, da. Ovo je, na primjer, ne znam, 7.000, 7 i nešto.
Ovo je Brunello.
Ovo je 17, da, top, stvarno je top. Stvarno je top. Vrlo si sretan, nema
šta. It's the single vigna Casaccia, the vigna where we stop in front. So 100% from the Canalicchio, and next year, as I said, we're going to have the Vigna Montoso with the same kind of label, but different, because these are the two roads that identify the vigna, so Montoso has two roads like this.
Now I understand, this is the vigna, this is the road, you know.
Yeah. And Montoso have different roads, same style of label, but with different cut of the paper.
How many bottles of la Cascaya you make?
Casaccia is 3,700 bottles plus 200 magnums. This one?
This one, yes, please.
Divano.
Thank you.
Ne, kad nisi vrana da prepoznaš.
Dobro, a ovo je znači nešto...
Pa ovo, 15, 16, 17, tako je.
Ne, znači, ovo je...
Ovo je single pozicija, 3000 boca, znači, radi, znači, bukvalno gde smo snimali, vinograd ispod je grožđe za ovo vino.
Ovo je...
I ovo su prvi put izbacili 15. I za 15. su odmah. For 15, the first 100 point, it's from Parker or...
No, it was 98 points Parker, 100 point was from Suckling.
Suckling, yeah.
For this wine?
Yeah, no,
for the Casaccia,
but 15 vintage. 15 was the first vintage.
Yeah, the first vintage we released was the 15, yes.
But you made it every year?
Yeah, from 15, yes.
Wow.
Ovo je ovo.
Kakva fantastična gradacija posle ove 17. Dođeš do ovoga i vidiš razliku.
Da, ali ovo je baš dobro.
Okay, I like everything, you know, but 16, it's for me maybe a little bit closer to my palate, you know, it's really...
The acidity, the vibrancy, the freshness of the 16 against the opulence, the fatness of the 15. It's a matter of what you prefer to drink, but you realize that you're in front of two great vintages, no? Yeah. That's the point.
And you now bring to us something which will be released in February, January, February, you know, this is the 18.
Yeah. sometimes the producer...
Some words are for 18, you know.
Yeah, the producer, they always prefer not the famous vintage, but the most difficult vintages, because they put in much more of their work. They know how to, they need to, what they need to do in terms of selection, in terms of work, in terms of nights in the cellar during the vinification to make a good wines. 18 is a vintage that bring Montalcino back of 5 years for me. To make an example, it's something similar to one of the vintage at the beginning was not famous, then become super famous, like 13. A vintage of terroir, a vintage of soil, a vintage of freshness, because 18 was a fresh vintage, different from the other vintages we had in the last decade, which were almost all with a good amount of sunshine. The 18 was less sunshine, more cold, the lower temperature. But in this condition, there is a point that makes the style of the vintage for me, which are the last 10 days before the harvest, where we had after a bit of rainy that happened in September, that seems to have in a certain way seems to have compromised the quality of the vintage. After this, we have 10 days of what we call the best friend of Montalcino, which is the tramontana. So this cold wind is coming from the north or northeast. Northeast is Grecale, tramontana. These kind of two winds, they really dry the grapes and really making like a concentration in terms of structure of the wine, but keeping the characteristic of a super fresh vintage. So the nose for me here in the middle of this wine, for what I like, this is the most beautiful nose. The 18 has this floral nose, super clean, but also very more ethereal, less fruity, but extremely fresh. It seems to have like herbal meats, like
herbal coffee.
Yeah, very, very precise, very beautiful. And the mouth is fresh. It's the salivation. Is a very gastronomic wine. Maybe it doesn't have the powerful of the 15. But the elegance, the length, this wine has to be measured not in impact but in length. And the length of this wine is second to no one. It's a vintage that I really like. I'm a palate for fresh vintages because I like to have the bottle with the food, and this kind of wine works perfectly with the food. This is also, the 18 is a vintage that can live for a long time because the acidity amount is one of the highest of this lineup.
Yep.
And so maybe if you never taste a Brunello, the first approach with this kind of acidity is too much. So I suggest to start with a 15. But when the palate is a bit more aware about the Sangiovese from Montalcino, from Chianti Classico, where the acidity is an important component, you understand the value of the 18. And for me, 18 will have a big successful because it's a very vintage that also because of the climate change in the last few years, I don't know how many vintages fresh like this we're going to have in the future, because more vintage goes still with the freshness, the elegance, but more vintage goes more in the direction of power, no?
Yeah.
But this is pure elegance. This is how I like this vintage.
How much I like, this completely different nose, and this aromatic complex what we have on the nose, in the palate, it's really amazing, and it's really acidity and long aftertaste, You're feeling very nice, completely different all this vintage what we taste, and what you say, it's on one side classic also,
Yeah, super classic. For me, classic, the classic vintage is not a big vintage, but it's super, the vintage that tell you where you are. In 18 is easy to understand. This one came from the north, another one came from the south. It's very precise where the wine came from.
I really enjoy, I hope so that people in January, February, when you release, it's in November, it's this
Benvenuto Brunello is in November.
In November.
Yeah, it's the preview.
Yeah, we can call the people who are interested, to taste the new vintage,
Sure.
They come in Montalcino, it's 21, 20 something.
19, 20, 21.
19, 20, 21 November, Montalcino, wine trackers, this is the route which you can book. Put your, in your map, the route for Montalcino, and you will taste Rosso 21.
For the producer, they are already released. We are not going to present Rosso 21 because we release in February, March.
Brunello
18
and who make
a Riserva 17 that we prefer to not make. Like in 18, we didn't make the Riserva. We made the two cru, but not the Riserva. So the Riserva fruits another time are in the classic Brunello.
You make la
Casaccia and the new Vigna Montosa.
That you mean you have two wines on this year?
3 wines. Casaccia, Montosoli, and the classic
Totally
Brunello.
like a new one.
Yeah.
But I always was bad in mathematics. But guys, huh? Benvenuti Brunello. Benvenuti Brunello. That means maybe to think about same route, you know, just for the trackers, you know, put in the phone, you know.
It's nice if you're coming to Montalcino because it's the possibility to taste all the producer, more than 150 producer, in a place where you're seated, you have sommelier, they serve you, you can decide, you can ask for this one, the other one, you have 3 hours, your table, and you taste something like 400, 500 wines.
And when it is
19 from 21 November.
Yeah.
Nevenka, please.
Is the preview
open and not.
Is international preview is like Bordeaux and Premier. It's international preview of the new vintage, and is made in Montalcino, and for sure all the wine are open to welcome guests and clients to taste the preview. So you had a preview of the preview.
Preview of preview. Thank you very much. You know,
just a few important already tasted. So you're one of them.
Grazie.
We didn't ship yet for tasting, so only people that came here they had the possibility to taste.
Super. Thank you very much for.
No, I hope you enjoy because we are very
we
are very focused on this vintage that we really like. So we hope they can have a big successful because it's a vintage that really reflects the style of Canalicchio. Super. The freshness, the elegance. When you talk about elegance, you have a fresh vintage like this, it's easy to put the elegance into the bottle. This is why we like this kind of vintage.
We're waiting this vintage, and for the guys, people who following this, you can come 19 until 21. Benvenuti Brunello in Montalcino. Come and visit Canalicchio di Sopra, and if you want, enjoy of the rest of your trekking adventure. In the meantime, thank you very much, Francesco.
Thank you
for the visit. You know, after Verona, you know, we are in the base, you know.
Yeah.
And I just say
it's always important to visit the producer to see what we do, no? Because you can enjoy a wine at the first tasting, but when you visit, you see what's behind the wine, and that's very important. And the wine take another taste, no? Because you know that what I told you in Verona, you can see that it's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's not something that you can hear. You find a garage.
From November, you know, it's
I think that we are free.
in the and 3 days. 3 days. 3 days, mamma mia! It's fantastic, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you again, and I just need to say to the guys who following this fine trackery, ciao ragazzi, arrivederci.
Salute.
Salute.